It took less than 12 hours for Call of Duty community to collectively lose its shit over a matchmaking system that launched into worst possible conditions imaginable. A system nobody had time to properly test on a day where half at Playerbase couldn't even log in. And people are already calling it dead. I've had hangovers last longer than COD community's patience. Alright, you lot. Yesterday, July 23rd, 2026, Activision dropped Season 5 of Black Ops 7, and with it came a brand new, classic matchmaking system. Now, if you've been paying attention to Call of Duty over the last few weeks, you'll know what prompted this. Activision re-released Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 as direct ports on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and response were massive. Both games landed in top 10 most played games on PlayStation within a week, and Activision, being Activision, saw those numbers and thought, right, there's money in nostalgia. So they announced a new matchmaking system for Black Ops 7, inspired by those classic games. That's their words. And that distinction matters more than most people realise, because what you got in Black Ops 1 on PlayStation and what you're getting in Black Ops 7 are two completely different beasts running on completely different infrastructure. First, let's look at what Activision actually did here, because it's worth laying it out properly. Black Ops 7 now has 3 separate matchmaking systems running at the same time. You've got Standard, which is your over-top skill-based matchmaking. You've got Open, which were existing system with minimal skill consideration that launched with game back in November. And now you've got Classic, which is supposedly new system inspired by old Black Ops games. 3 systems, 3 separate pools of players, in one game, and nobody seems to be talking about fundamental problem with that, which is that they're splitting an already declining player base 3 ways. But hold that thought, because we need to address immediate backlash first. Within hours of update going live, people were already online saying classic matchmaking were worse, slower to find games, getting put into sweaty lobbies, not feeling like Black Ops 1 at all, and content creators jumped on it immediately. I watched a video from NerosCinema where he showed matchmaking on Black Ops 1 on PlayStation being near instant. Click search, you're in a game. Beautiful, quick, classic Call of Duty. And then comparison to Black Ops 7, where classic matchmaking were taking longer to find games and lobbies didn't feel casual at all. And yeah, that looks bad. Looks like Activision sold you a lie. Classic matchmaking that don't feel classic. Except there's factors literally nobody's accounting for. And I'm sat here genuinely baffled that nobody in content creation space has put together. Because it's not complicated. It just requires you to think about 30 seconds before hitting upload button. Let's start with the obvious one. Black Ops 1 on PlayStation's a direct port, running peer-to-peer matchmaking. That means when you search for a game, your console's looking for another player to host match directly. There's no dedicated servers in middle. There's no anti-cheat validation happening server-side before you get into a lobby. It's PS4 and PS5 only, with crossplay between those two consoles and naught else. It's a closed ecosystem using the same networking model that existed in 2010. Of course matchmaking is fast. There's almost no happening between you pressing search and getting into a game. Now compare that to Black Ops 7, cross-platform, PC, PlayStation and Xbox, running Ricochet anti-cheat, which operates using both a kernel-level driver on PC and server-side monitoring tools. They're using TPM 2.0 verification, secure boot checks, cloud attestation through Microsoft Azure, and hardware-level banning capabilities that got expanded in Season 5. That entire system has to validate you before you get into a match. Every single player in every single lobby has to pass through that server-side infrastructure. So when you press search on Black Ops 7, your system isn't just looking for 11 other players, it's authenticating your hardware, checking your anti-cheat status, validating your account, sorting you into one of 3 matchmaking pools based on which playlist you selected, and then finding players within that pool who are geographically close enough to give you a reasonable connection. And that takes time. It'll always take more time than a straight peer-to-peer connection with no validation. You can't compare matchmaking speed or a PS-only P2P port to a cross-platform server-authenticated modern shooter with 3 concurrent matchmaking systems. It's not same thing. And anyone telling you it should be either don't understand technical reality or don't care because Outrage gets more clicks. And it gets even more ridiculous because nobody's talking about what happened on launch day. On the same day Season 5 dropped with classic matchmaking, Microsoft's entire infrastructure went down. Xbox Live, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, Azure, Microsoft Store, all of it. That outage started at around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time and affected thousands of users. Dan Detector reported over 1,000 complaints about Xbox network alone, with 60% of those being server connection failures. Players couldn't log in, they couldn't launch games, couldn't authenticate their accounts, and Call of Duty on Xbox requires that authentication. If you can't reach Xbox services, you can't play. So think about what that means for classic matchmaking test. Update drops, huge chunk of console players on Xbox can't get online, player-based testing this new system is immediately gutted, and who's left? Mostly PC players, and whatever PlayStation players are crossplay enabled. And what most people miss, and it's one of those quiet statistics that never makes it into Outrage videos, most console players turn off crossplay because they don't want to play against PC players. So what you were left with on launch day, in classic matchmaking pool specifically, were a skeleton crew of mostly PC players, probably skewing towards higher skill levels because casual players are overwhelmingly on console. Course lobbies felt sweaty and matchmaking was slow. There were barely anyone it pulled to match with. Call of Duty launcher on Steam, which currently only covers Black Ops 7 and Warzone, had a 24-hour peak of 37,659 players on that day. That's both games combined. You can't separate them because Steam don't publish individual player counts for games we ain't launcher. So take that 37,659 and remember that some of those are playing Warzone, not Black Ops 7. Now split Black Ops 7 portion across 3 matchmaking pools, and you're carving up what's already a fraction at total number into thirds. And that's just on Steam. Console side were crippled by Xbox outage. Maths don't work. You can't offer 3 flavours of matchmaking to a Playerbase this size and expect any of them to feel populated, let alone on a day when 1 or 3 major platforms were offline for hours. And there's a bigger conversation here that SBMM Outrage is drowning out. Steam numbers for Call of Duty have dropped 44% year on year. First half of 2026 averaged 32,048 concurrent players, down from 57,498 in first half of 2025. Black Ops 7's launch month peaked at 91,752. Black Ops 6's launch month peaked at 313,313. That's a 70% drop. And while the start of 2026 is that Modern Warfare 2019, a 7-year-old game that went on sale for about £4, it's 61,453 concurrent players in March and outpeaked entire modern Call of Duty launcher. Let that sink in for a second. A game from 2019 that cost less than a pint had more players on Steam than Black Ops 7 and Warzone combined. That's state at franchise right now. And Activision's response to this declining population is to add more matchmaking options that split pool even further. It's like watching someone try to fill 3 buckets from a tap that's barely dripping. They're not solving the problem, they're just creating a smaller version of it. And nostalgia play is transparent. Activision saw numbers on Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 ports and thought, right, people miss old days. Let's slap a classic label on a new matchmaking system and write goodwill. But reason people loved those ports wasn't just matchmaking. It was maps, guns, simplicity, feel of those games before every Call of Duty became a live service seasonal content machine with battle passes and operator skins that looked like they were designed by someone who's never seen a real firearm. You can't bottle that up by tweaking a matchmaking algorithm. Activision basically admitted their matchmaking used to be better, which is corporate confession dressed up as a feature announcement. They said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they've learned a lot from player feedback and data, and that love for Black Ops 1 and 2 reinforced that players appreciate those classic experiences. Translation? We made it worse. You told us for years. We ignored you. And now we're pretending to fix it while also keeping system U8 running in parallel. I'm sorry, lads, but that's not a solution. Look, I'm not saying classic matchmaking can't work. Maybe now Xbox outage is resolved and more people are actually in full and system has time to collect data and balance itself out. It'll be fine. But you can't, and I can't stress this enough. You absolutely can't judge a new matchmaking system based on 12 hours of data collected during a major platform outage with a fraction at normal Playerbase online. That's not a fair test. It's not even a test. It's just noise. And content creators jumped on it for immediate reaction videos are doing exactly what they always do, which is prioritizing speed over accuracy because algorithm rewards whoever uploads first. Community deserves better analysis than that. You deserve to actually play it thing for a week in normal conditions with a full player base before you decide whether it works or not. And if after a proper testing period with normal server conditions and full cross-platform population it still feels off, then yeah, tear it apart. But right now, you're judging a restaurant based on an appetizer that arrived during a power cut. How about we give it a minute? Now, if you like this video, YouTube says you'll like this and next, so go check that out, and I'll see you there, you magnificent.